A very warm welcome. If you are just joining us here on Morning at NTV, you find us at our business update segment. And of course, we are going to be looking at enterprising perspectives for women and youth in the search for economic transformation. Now, many times it is said that the ground or the grassroots, that is where the women and the youth do ply their trade, is often the bedrock of a transformation. But how often are the women and the youth helped ensure that they are able to embark on business enterprises that are both sustainable and long-lasting? We shall be joined by Clide Odhiambo, the Chief Executive Officer and founder of the Jitoleze Foundation that is making interventions across Busia municipality with that regard. A very warm welcome to the program, Mr. Clide Odhiambo.
Hey, Bwana Chris. Thank you very much for hosting me this morning, and I'm pleased to be sharing the works that Jitoleze Foundation is doing in the eastern part of the country.
Eastern part of the country. First and foremost, I haven't come across what's Jitoleze and what does it mean?
Okay, thank you. Jitoleze is a Swahili word, just like we come from the border, so we wanted to bring up a word that, you know, covers all, that if someone hears, he or she relates to it. So it means more of supporting, you know, standing up. It's kind of, it doesn't have a straightforward meaning, but if I asked a question that who could carry this table, maybe there, then someone says, I can volunteer. So in Swahili tunasema kujitolea. So we made that word Jitoleze Foundation. So it's a foundation of guys who are volunteering without much, without funding, but to do a cause. Okay. Seeing a problem, and we want just stand and see how we can make solutions. So what kind of problems are you tackling, and what's the scope of your work? Cool. So one is, my name is Odhiambo Clide, right, from Busia. That's right. So I grew up in Busia, born and raised in an area called Marach, and the registers show that by the time that we're in school, a number of young people dropped out right from primary to indulge in, you know, drug abuse, alcoholism. Actually, when there's a well just bordering Ghana and Kenya called Opade, so it was then a center where, you know, drug addicts could sit and, you know, smoke. So a number of our colleagues went there and started smoking. So of course we are not so different, like we are special, that we maybe God blessed and we continue with school, finished primary, went to secondary and maybe some other places. So but of course after that we're asking that how did we make it? Maybe we had people who guided us, who pushed us. You know, it takes the whole community to raise up a child. So we had a lot of people who, please go to school and all this. Not coming from very good families, but there was people who were there for us, you know, stood for us and just wanted us to be there. So we said, what do we give back? We can't give more, you know, financial, all this are not sustainable. So we said, if we had people who trained us, who guided us, who mentored us, we can also be those other people to mentor our next friend. So we said we're going to, first of all, do career talks that can help young people stick in school, know the benefit of school. But also look for the out of school, also give them skill that can help them, you know, be self-reliant, you know, get an enterprise and do it. And that's why you see our focus so much young people and low-income women. One, I was raised by a mother who didn't have anything, low income. So going to school was just a chance. Two is I was a young person who was going through that stage. So I just gave a replication of myself to that community. Okay. Yeah. So Jitoleze Foundation as a community-based organization is aimed at transforming mindsets of the young women and youth mainly, and then the low-income women in regard to business enterprise management. But these are commonplace initiatives. Everyone is doing something here and there. What is value proposition for the Jitoleze Foundation? Okay, so thank you, Evan. Most of these prototypes are done somewhere. So yeah, but the value added proposition is here is that one is like you say, we transform the minds of young people. We look at no intervention can be done if the mindset is not transformed. You know, our government is coming out with a number of initiatives. You know, you have heard of the Myoga PDM and whatever the cases are, wanatugagawale. But if we still have the same mindset that money will come and we give ourselves, we can't go anywhere. But we rethink and say, okay, so I'm the change maker myself. What do I want in my life? Do I want to stay poor? No. I want to become this better person. So in case such initiatives come, we shall adapt to them and use them with full force. So you look at if we look at what we are aiming to bring on board is like creating 1 million, creating 1 million jobs for the young people, not only in Busia but across this country in the next 10 years. But how are we going to do it? We are going to make sure that we empower the young people with employable practical skills, that can help them make a venture. So in every country in Africa, is struggling with youth unemployment. But how do we solve this thing? So we are thinking that if a young person creates a job there, so the skill of given is to create a job, not to go and look for a job. He's going to employ another person, So that person we've trained will now become a trainer of this person. So we create trainers of trainees and all this, create ventures that last. We have the skills. So in case the government brings this money, a person already has a skill to carry out this venture. Okay,
you talk about the fact that many might not have the ability to use money in the best possible way, especially when it comes from government initiatives like, for example, PDM. Just break down the programs and how they are structured to allow or to help these beneficiaries do exactly that, because we already have the youth livelihood program, and there are complaints about the fact that it's not the revolving fund that is supposed to be. No one is bringing back money. So what is different in terms of structuring how the young women, low-income women in Busia municipality and the youth should do best in order to ensure that they can also give back in terms of doing better business and creating more employment opportunities for the rest?
Okay, thank you very much, Chris. So I'm a graduate of leadership. I studied from Africa Leadership University, and on my capstone, I did the research on all these government programs. CDD, that's community-driven development, and youth livelihood. By then, the Myoga and PDM were not there, but I just added in later on. But when I was moving in my community, I would see a lot of offices, Busia tailors, whatever, Sacco and competitors, youth livelihood program. A lot of this came up. But what on the back of my mind, what came, and when I was interacting with the chiefs, the town agent, was that when these programs come, young people hear about them, local leaders sensitize them, they come to groups and go and get the money. So whether they're going to be in a circle or an enterprise that is doing carpentry, no one has a technical know-how of carpentry. So it's just a formation because those are the requirements that's needed
to access
the funds. Yeah. So there was nothing like you should be skilled in this. So what I did on my intervention was, how do we help these people, first of all, access the skills? So even in 2021, I think that was during COVID, I met the town clerk of Busia municipality and told him that I gave him a concept note saying that if you guys are going for any, for example, any youth level program in this town, that's before it phased out to bring these other, and if you guys are going for any youth level intervention in this town, I want you to, I'm not dictating that you pick these people, but I've trained these people in these categories. So I trained a number of young people in hairdressing and even got to them. We had a 4 months skilling. It was funded by World Vision. So took them through hairdressing, those who did computer, those who did tailoring, some like, these are the enterprises that the government wants. So in case of anything, let's make these people benefit because they already have the skills. So why not give them the money? So the concept of just coming to the area and people coming to group and accessing money is the problem, because they can't even run the business that has been presided over by them, maybe that they're put in their concept note. But also technically, if you go to the government side, is we all know rumors behind this money. So if I'm a mentor, I'm mentoring young people.
What are the rumors behind
if I'm mentoring young people, I want them to be great leaders. So if they're going to get 10 million, for example, they're supposed to get 10 million, that is youth money that's supposed to be taken back. But the committee that's going to give the 10 million will give them maybe 5, but they're supposed to account for 10 million. So from the very beginning, they know that this money is for eating because it has already been eaten. So you see the point. So mindset. So how do we start from the top, coming to the bottom, to show these guys that we need to bring this money back. This is a loan.
All right, talking about business mindset, the ability to be able to understand that money must be able to be injected in an enterprise so as to make more money. When you look at a series of interventions that Jitoleze Foundation has undertaken, of course, many could be either in tandem with or complementing already existing government efforts. What is the trajectory of results we have right now?
Okay, thank you. So we have 3 core programs. One is sustainable livelihood initiative. So livelihood is just livelihood, not training somebody to do hairdressing, but how sustainable is it?
Yeah.
But just like I told you that for us when you are training, we take you to an existing business. For example, Chris, you own maybe a cafe. So you already have clients who come to do business with you there. You have customers.
I take the blessing.
Amen. So what I do is when I bring person X, maybe Simon, to your enterprise, I say, I want this young person not only to know how to use a computer, but also to know how you handle your clients. So one, I'm teaching the person business, mindset, how to handle customer care and service. We all know that some of us, when you go to places, we are like, guy, Ugandans, how we are Uganda, but you say Ugandans, how do they treat their customer? I've been here for them, but no one is asking me for my, if I want any service. So we want this existing business to know how to teach our colleagues, our trainees, on how to operate that business. So by the time I graduate Simon from your cafe, he has already taken how you treat your customers, how you balance your books, all these things. So that's how we're doing things differently. So we use appetite model, where young people go to our existing business to get this skill set.
All right, talking about your beneficiaries and target, or in broadcasting, we talk about audiences, but for your case, I think there are beneficiaries. When you look at low-income women, how do you cluster them? Women who earn how much or who make how much? Because every woman will want to be in. How do you cluster, how you intervene?
Okay, your questions are just so that one takes me to the next program, that is education and skills training. So in the training the women, for example, they have an operating mushroom garden for women in Busia. I think Baba TV one time hired it out. It was some good concept where young women came up, but these are women who, one, they have children less than 5 years. They're breastfeeding already.
Okay.
Yes. 2 is they're single mothers, single parents. 3 is maybe they don't have a real job that gives them a salary at the end of the month. So that's how we cluster the low income we're talking about. Of course, when you say low income, is pretty much, that's why we will just put women, because it's like degrading them down. But the real concept in non-governmental programming is this low income. It's just like saying we work with people with disability. Because PWDs, it's like you're saying they're not able, but of course this has always been defined by a number of people. So young people is just young people, 18, 35, but more especially some of them are out of school but don't have a real, work that they do. We also look at no formal education, if you're talking about out of school. Of course, no job and no finances. It's just the community there. So we want to put them in a place where they're not going to drugs, but they're looking at something that they can do to benefit their future.
All right, linkages between private actors like community-based organizations, including Jitoleze Foundation, are critical in driving some of these projects. However, many times government seems to either sidestep or completely ignore the ability of private actors to be catalysts for economic empowerment of communities, and of course being able to be agents of transformation. Across Uganda, what do you think is the agenda for youth to be able to take this nation forward?
Chris, I didn't want most time when I'm on air, people want to take me to a political, people want to take me to a politician. And
right now,
but when you talk about young people driving the change of this country,
that's right. Not political change, business enterprise.
Of course, most of the things that are done, aligned from the policymakers. How do we create, first of all, how do we create the enabling environment for youth enterprises to thrive? For example, can we look at rephrasing how registration of maybe a business in this country is taken, and maybe can we look at, because when you go and register a company, they're going to tell you that you now have to have a tin. Of course, when you go to the tin tax expert, they say you're not supposed to, you just need to file. But all these things go to a cost, because you have to get somebody who files for you all this and etc. So first of all, even before you think about driving this country forward, whether in business or in grassroots leadership, the current policymaker should give them room to do that, knowing that if you keep saying that the young people are the ones going to change this country, are the next trees, we need to support them, mentor them, put them in a place that they are able to. Because in my community where I'm doing the trainings is because at a time of politics, time X, young people are so much driven into political lines. Who buys for them alcohol? It's like bidding. So who moves with us and who moves the car and who can give us money. So you look at leadership as being sold. So whoever does not have money will take up a position, because he may not be able to maybe buy jerry cans of beer to this number of people. So, but also I want young people to focus, because me, when time of politics, if it's not about asking me about how we change Busia municipality, they not see me in Yorale, you not see me anywhere. So I look at your ideals for the community, because by the end, if you buy me and go there, you will not come back. You will pay your money and wait for the 5 years and come and buy us again, and my children. So I look at young people should be focused. They should know what they want, because if you buy us alcohol and they don't vote for you, you know that I will not be buying for this alcohol. I'll be telling them the policy I'm going to make while I'm in parliament or at local government level, whatever way I'm standing for them.
Okay.
But also, young people are focused people. They are zealed, they are 21st century. This world is moving very fast. The projection is by 2035, Africa will have the biggest workforce. We are 78% of the Ugandan population of about 43 million. We're just in the world, we are second to Niger, which has 83% of the national population. So if we are the majority, then why are we not being considered? Why is there no, if we say there are our MPs who are of youth MPs in parliament, what are they doing? If we say that Minister of Gender is working on youth and women, I think that's what they focus more of community. What's not going wrong? Yet they already know that universities graduate young people, because I'm sure that others so much young people, 30,000 graduates every year. Minister of, my quick question is always that if we already know the problem, then why are we not solving it? Right? So that's why for us, we didn't want to keep lamenting, go to political lines and start maybe being in government or opposite. We wanted to do the change. And I've met close to, I think, most of the national leaders and discussed with them, how do we bring young people out of poverty? How do we make sure that initiatives are sustainable and they're benefiting the local people? They buy them at the meeting, but after that, they keep quiet.
Okay, that's interesting there. I'm glad that the politics of the day did not sift very, as you had feared, into the conversation. Now, as we enter the final bend of this discussion, looking at the demographics in Busia and eastern Uganda, there are so many economic activities that people could actually focus on. Sand mining across the lakes, gold is very much within the area, rock excavation, I've seen that happening. Where should a lot of resources be channeled to?
Of course, Busia, a few years ago, let me say, could be 5 to 7 years ago, the major economic activities in Busia were basically two. One was produce. Of course, gold is now coming.
Producers in
produce, we have a market.
Food stuff.
Food stuff. Then the other one was smuggling. Of course, we know that's the border, and that's why a lot of billions of money come from Busia border to the central government. But of course, smuggling became it. But that's when we were young, when I was in P2, and I would see people running out with army and all this. Produce, of course, is dying slowly. You have to wait for season. People who benefit from there are now struggling. But it's just because of how policies changed.
So where is the money? Because that's a fundamental question for youth. Where is the money? Where can we put resources and be able to recruit and then grow the economy of Busia and perhaps the entire country? That should be the focus.
Of course, now, Chris, that should not be a community programming.
It's not a community programming question.
It should be, if you had hosted my MP here, you should be asking him what is he not doing right. Because he knows that typically we rely on the produce.
That's right.
Right? And if you go to the side of Samia Bugwe, is it south, where there is a lot of gold mining here and whatever, people will sometimes chase like chicken. You know, and also do you know that local government in our district, we don't benefit from that gold mining. So I don't know how the street
that's a political question.
Yes,
don't
now
go there on benefits and how whether you want to benefit or not. All right. Okay, we're going to have to wrap this up. Jitoleze Foundation, Clide Odhiambo, CEO and founder, many thanks for giving us a preamble and some perspective on how the youth and women within Busia district are changing themselves because they are changing mindsets. Thank you very much. That will do it for this discussion. Next up is tourism, and of course we shall be delving into the dynamics of the 2023 Tourism Expo, adding value to the sector. We shall be speaking to Uganda Tourism Board officials as well as the chairperson, Honorable Daudi Migereko, I must say. Stay with us.